So this is now our third video with Rabbi Manis Friedman. Thank you very much for coming. There's 2 other videos for anybody watching on YouTube. Please remember that we're real estate agents, so if anybody needs to sell a house or a condo, please give us a call. We're in the question and answer series of our talk about financial abundance and how to make a lot of money. And who's got a question? Please.
I got an image that God, Kadosh Baruch Hu, you want to give shefa for everybody, okay? You want to give shefa for everybody, and He uses people as tzinorot, as like, tubes that it's going to go. And what as far as in my imagination, if you are a good tube, if you are a good one, you will not leak, and you give it for everybody from what you got, you're getting bigger and bigger, and then give you more and more. And then it's going for everybody. So sometimes Rabbi bless you, you get that things to be a mashpia for many people, and you don't do good, and it's going for someone else. Because as I understand, there is rabbis that not supposed to get, and there is a people supposed to give them shefa, and then they can do together the things. So how these things that I understand it's right, and I really believe on that, coming back to, do your stuff and do, you understand what I'm saying? For me, it's kind of, it's not, there is a question on that, because God created you to do something, and Rabbi?
The channels of blessing come to us, and the intention is that you share it with others. And the more you share it with others, the more you're going to get. That's probably true, but we have to be careful. Don't make deals with God. Don't ask God to give you wealth because you're going to share it. You ask God to give you wealth, and then share it. But don't make deals. Don't promise, if you give me this money, I will give a lot of charity. Don't make deals with God. You never know what He's got up His sleeve. So it's not a good idea. You're asking because you want to be rich. And you're smart enough to know what to do with it when you become rich. But don't try to impress God with, give me some money, I'll do. No vows. Don't make vows about what you're going to do. You just know that that's the right thing to do. Somebody came to the Rebbe for a blessing, and he said, my grandfather was a chassid, was a Lubavitcher back in Russia. And the Rebbe said, you're bribing me? Like, what are you trying to, I'll give you the blessing, you don't have to bribe me. It's fine if your grandfather wasn't a Lubavitcher. Don't do that. And don't do that with God. I'm a very charitable person, so you can give me money. Don't do that. You want money because you're ready to be rich. And you'll know what to do with it.
First, Yashiko, thank you for presenting this, Ron, and the beautiful presentation. So I noticed that the draw was called Financial Success, How to Achieve Financial Success, and yet the conversation quickly devolved into a discussion about how to become rich. And I'm wondering, why is rich the metric for us here in Los Angeles, in the United States, one of the richest countries in the world, at one of the richest times in history? Even our poor, by the definition of the U.S., are rich by many other countries' standards. So what does that even mean? Why do we strive to be rich? The mission, as you ended, I was delighted to understand the connection that it's to be happy with your lot, but rich is an absolute. And it doesn't necessarily bring happiness, contentment, or all of the blessings that we really look for in our life. Financial success and rich are not necessarily the same thing. For many people, they're struggling just to try to make ends meet here. So maybe I missed something, but I'd like to have that connection made between financial success, which is getting things to improve your life so you can have a home as well as an existence. But why rich?
Is rich different from success? And is rich only money? Certainly success is not only money. But rich is also not only money. Wealth comes in many forms. So yeah, we should use the word in a much broader sense. who is successful, who is rich. When you say you have a rich life, you don't necessarily mean money. You mean money that you know what to do with. Then you're rich. If you don't know what to do with money, who told you to get rich? Who gave you permission to get rich if you don't know what to do with it? So you're right. We're not limiting, we're not restricting wealth to dollars. Somebody asked the Rebbe a number of years ago, has Chabad philosophy changed? Because there was a time when the philosophy was, do with less, don't look for wealth or for material goods, and focus only on spiritual things. And the Rebbe seems to be saying, use technology and go for all the good. Has there been a change in philosophy? And the Rebbe said, it's not a change, it's progress. Once you've done without, once you proved that you can live without, now you're capable of living with. If you can't live without the money, or without the success, without the fame, then you can't handle it when you have it. If you prove that you can live without it, then when you have it, you will master it. It won't master you. So historically, we've gone from proving to ourselves that we can live without it and still be good. So we've passed the test of poverty and persecution. We do well when we're poor and persecuted. Now that we've proven that, now we can have the comfort and we can have the success and we can have the wealth and be the master of it and not let it master us. So remembering that just a generation ago, or 2 generations ago, we did quite well without any of this. That's why we can have all of this.
Lubavitcher Rebbe often mentioned, he gave advice to a lot of people to, when you work with your hands and not with your mind and your heart involved in the parnasa. The first question is, if that is his advice, how can a person go about doing that without having to work at a $10 an hour job? In other words, you make a lot of money, but to work with just your hands, not your mind and your heart, how is that a vessel for that?
Somebody asked the Rebbe, should I be, years ago, remember typewriters? Anybody? Somebody asked the Rebbe, should I become a typist? And the Rebbe said, type. Don't become a typist. Do your job, don't become it. Right. So whatever it takes to do the job, whatever intelligence you have to invest in your job, invest it. Most jobs, most work is cerebral, is mental, is planning, is vision. So yes, of course. But don't become it. I think that's what the Rebbe was saying. Don't reduce yourself to your form of income. Keep yourself above. You're a human being, you have human aspirations, you have human responsibilities. You're a Jew, you have Jewish responsibilities, you have a God that you have to relate to and have a relationship with. So do what you need to do, including brain power, but don't become it. Don't lose your head. Use your head. Hey, that's a good... Write that down. Use your head to make a living. Don't lose your head in doing it.
Second question is, what are the hints that a person can get from God or from life as to if a person is unsure of what kli to make, what vessel to make for God, to make the parnasa. In other words, a lot of the problem is not the work, it's the kli that a person chooses and the decision which one to use. What should a person do to determine what is the best fit for them?
Which business to go into? That's what we need friends for. We shouldn't make those decisions on our own. You have to, of course, have an attraction, a desire, an aptitude for something. But should you actually do that? Ask at least 3 friends and see what they think. And trust them, because that's what friends are for.
So the rabbi spoke about making an effort and making a big enough vessel to allow sufficient financial success to come in. In Los Angeles, most families, both the husband and the wife, are working, but still women generally do more childcare. And there's always this difficulty with the balance if you have young children. How big should your vessel be for achieving financial abundance when you need to also have a vessel for being a good parent and raising your children? And I'm wondering if someone's in that situation, you know, how much effort should they really be putting into making that vessel for bringing in the money?
Or in other words, should I sacrifice my children and their education and their well-being so that they have a big house to play in all by themselves? I think the answer is obvious, right? In general, like all generalities, when women go to work, it's because the family needs it. It's actually a maternal instinct that makes them go to work, because the children need, family needs. Men go to work for a different reason. It's not maternal, and not even paternal. It would be much healthier and we would be happier people if everybody went to work out of maternal and paternal motivation. We don't create a separate life outside the home. We have only one life. Whatever happens outside the home is a support, a backup, a source of goodies for the family. We can't estrange ourselves from our home and from our children in the name of making a living, because you're actually making an existence. Living starts when you come home. So we need to be careful about this, and we need to be conscious about this. When men develop a career and it consumes them, then women are running a single-parent home, and nobody wants to do that, and nobody should do that. So rather than tell women not to go to work, which some people recommend, we got to tell men not to have a life outside of the home. Like in the olden days, a man went to work for only one reason. You got to feed the kids. So when he came home, it wasn't like, I'm done. I haven't done anything yet. Now my life begins when I come home. But when the children become an annoyance and a distraction from my career, that's not worth it.
It just seems generally accepted that the 3 sources of blessing focus around children, health, and income. And rarely is someone fortunate enough to be blessed in all 3 areas. If a person is blessed, though, with good health and good children, is there any thought to the fact that if you do say, now I really want wealth, would that take away from their other sources of blessing? Is that putting that at risk?
Can a human being have it all?
Right.
Or is it a trade-off? If I get rich, my kids will make me miserable. If I like my kids, I'll never get rich. If I'm healthy, then I'm going to be poor. If I'm rich, I'm going to be sick. God forbid. There is no such thing. God does not give you a blessing at the expense of something else. And that's part of, we were talking about faith or emunah. The emunah is God would never punish you as he blesses you because no one should have everything. Why not? He wants us to have everything. And he's just hoping that we can handle as much as He wants to give us. So He will give us, just up to where we can't handle anymore. And He knows how much we can handle. And I don't know anybody who says, if I'm rich and healthy, well, then I can't handle kids. If I have kids and I'm healthy, then I can't handle wealth. No, nobody. So there's no such rule. I don't know where that came from, by the way. Probably from our grandmothers, who, when something wasn't working, would say, well, at least you have. Right? So now we got the impression that it's one or the other. See, you have good kids, see? That's why you can't be rich. No, they didn't mean that. They meant don't get upset that you're not rich because you have what to be happy about. But they never meant it as a condition.
Rabbi, by the way, just to answer your question where I saw that, it's from the Friedman Rebbe's book, Lubavitch Rabbi's Memoirs. There's a story brought down where that was the case with one person, where a rabbi of some sort told the family, you don't have children, but God gives us, sustenance and children and health. So he said something to the effect of, to have children that they couldn't have, you'd have to give up one of them.
Well, and finish the story. He gave up all his wealth, he had children, and then he got rich again.
I believe that they gave up the health, and one of them passed away. Another story. He gave up the health, and then one of them passed away. That's what I.
That's a bad deal.
That's what I read.
I don't know who advised them on that one.
Sorry.
We know it says in the Torah, it says that whoever fulfills the Torah through poverty, he will be able to fulfill it with wealth. How come we don't see that really, nowadays around us?
A person who studies Torah when he's poor deserves to study Torah when he's rich. The problem is, if you really enjoy studying Torah when you're poor, you don't really want to get rich. It's true.
Because you get the more attached you are to the material things, and it takes time away from your growth and your learning. And
You just lose interest. The Rebbe once said, anyone wants to be rich, raise your hand. Nobody raised their hand. And the Rebbe was very upset with them. Like, what's wrong with you people? So, we're content with our lot. You can do that and be rich. Hello? What? But that's what happens. You get into a comfortable condition. Your life is good. You're being productive. You're studying Torah. You kind of lose interest in being rich. But God is saying, if you can study Torah when you're poor, then you deserve to study Torah when you're rich. Oh, you don't want? Well, okay.
so you're saying they probably reject.
And that goes back to the question of, if you have 200, then you want 400. Well, if you don't want, either you're not thinking clearly, or you are so content with what you have that you just don't care anymore.
Rabbi, can you please talk about the path to wealth? And in the context of, they say when you pass away, there are 3 questions that you're asked, and one of them is, did you deal honestly in business practices? So can you just comment, please, some thoughts on the path to wealth and how you should make it ethically?
The path to wealth? You're asking, is the path to wealth honesty, integrity? No. Look at the people who are rich. It doesn't seem to be a condition that if you're not honest and if you don't have integrity, you won't get rich. Yeah, you will. Question is, will that be a blessing for you, or will that be your Achilles heel? There are people who suffer terribly from their wealth. They just can't handle it. It makes them nasty, it makes them unhappy, it makes them paranoid, all sorts of things. if your integrity and if your honesty is strong, then the wealth will be a blessing for you. If you get the wealth in other ways that are not the straight path, you'll get rich, but it won't do you much good. So the Rebbe once said, you can have a lot of money, but look at where it's going. Lawyers' fees, doctors' bills. This is not doing you any good. To be rich in a healthy way means you can use your money in healthy and productive things and not on doctor bills and on lawyer fees. So you're going to get rich one way or the other. But like we were saying before, rich means more than just money.
Thank you very much, Rabbi. Really, really appreciate your time and your efforts. Thank you all for coming, and continued success to everybody.
And you should be rich.